Alright, so if you haven't done this, you're going to need to do this at some point. We are starting with our exponent review because technically we finished our lesson yesterday talking about exponents. So it says, select the greater expression of each pair without calculating the value of each expression. Be prepared to explain your choice. Alright, I'm going to give you 2 minutes on this one. Go. Yes, they open it up. Jeremiah, where's your pull down Friday?
I will be here on Friday. Like, I got checked out already.
Okay, so what do you need to do when you come back?
Huh?
What do you need to do when you come back, like for being out? Because right now you have 2 zeros for those, for your pull down. Alright, I mean, I put it out for you today, but you gotta get it from underneath of that.
Go on like Canvas and like.
No, but I'll print it out for you today, but they've gotta get done by the end of today. Okay? But you gotta make sure, like, if you go home, I get it, you're sick, but you gotta come in the next day, check out the folder, or come and say, this is my stuff is here. Alright, so, we're gonna do stand up, sit down, make it really easy. So stand up, if you said 10 times 3 is greater than 10 to the third. Okay, stand up if you said 10 to the third is greater than 10 times 3. Alright, Charles, what is 10 times 3?
30.
And what is 10 to the third power?
1,000.
1,000. Alright, so obviously then, we know 10 to the third is greater. Alright, B, have a seat. Stand up if you said 13 squared is greater than 12 times 12. Okay, have a seat. Stand up if you said 12 times 12 is greater than 13 squared. Make sure that you're standing or not standing. It's not a big deal if you get it right or wrong. This is just kind of making sure that we're understanding exponents. Remember, 13 squared is not 13 times 2. 13 squared is 13 times 13. So without even doing work, you know 13 squared is greater than 12 times 12 because you're multiplying a bigger number by itself. Alright, so we're not even going to do the math for that one. C, 97 plus 97 plus 97 plus 97 plus 97 plus 97 is greater than 5 times 97. Stand up if you pick that one. If you break that chair, son, we're going to have major issues. Because you can no longer get those chairs from Target. So please stop doing that. So nobody said the other way around? No. Well, what is 97 plus 97 plus 97 plus 97 plus 97 plus 97 plus 97?
97 times 6.
Yes. So this translated is 97 times 6, so therefore we know it's obviously greater because it's got one more 97 in it. Alright, just kind of getting our heads back in the process of thinking about exponents. Today, we're gonna do number, letter, activity, whatever you wanna call it, 18.2 together. Then you and your group members are gonna do 18.3, well, we're gonna do 18.2, number 1 together. You guys are gonna do 18.2, number 2, and 18.3 together with your group members. Alright, so it says, a cube has an edge length of 5 inches. So the very first thing you're doing is drawing a net of a cube. Does not matter what it actually, because there's so many of them. You can only draw this one time though. And don't judge my drawing because it's fabulous. Alright, so there's my net of my cube. Then what does it tell me to do? So it says draw the net of this cube and what else? Alexa. Alright, so what are the measurements of both sides? Not just 5. 5 inches. Alright, so I'm only labeling these two sides. And I could label this side and this side, I could label this side and this side. I could label any two sides, but to make it easy, I'm only gonna label, technically I'm only gonna think about this top square for the moment. Alright, so B says, what is the shape of each face? So what is the shape of each, well, it's supposed to be the shape of each one of these faces. Bless you.
Thank you.
Cooper.
Square.
A square. Alright, what is the area of each face? Since we know what the shape is, what is the area? What do we multiply to find the area? Joseph?
5 times 5.
Which will give me what?
25.
No,
Oh, inches squared.
inches squared. Alright, then it says, what is the surface area of the cube? So we know that one of these squares is 25 inches squared, correct? So what's the surface area? What's the expression or the equation that I can use to find that?
25 times 6.
25 times 6, which will give me what?
150.
Inches squared. And does everybody understand why we multiplied by 6?
Yes.
Is there anybody who doesn't understand? Okay. Alright, and then the last question is, what is the volume of this cube? Okay, well, now we're switching gears a little bit. So we just did area, surface area, now we're doing volume. So what's the formula for volume? Have you said a minute kind of since we talked about it? Corbin? Okay, so Corbin, with all of these being squares, what are the 3 numbers I'm going to multiply?
5 times 5 times 5.
Perfect. So 5 times 5 times 5 gives me 125 inches cubed. Please make sure you have the cubed on there. Why is it cubed and not squared? And I actually think I put this wrong. Why is it cubed?
Because it is multiplied by 3 numbers, not just 2.
Yes, it is multiplied by 3 numbers. Alright, so you're going to kind of use this as a reference for this set of questions up here and this set of questions down here. Now, before you get started, everyone put your pencil down. You cannot use the same net. You have to draw a different net for this cube and a different net for this cube. Like I said, there are an abundance of different ways to draw the net of a cube. There are so many different ways. Okay? So I'm going to give you, it should not take you very long. I'm going to say 5 minutes because it really should not take you that long. Like, look how long it took us and I talked the whole time. Had I not talked, it would have taken us, what, 3 minutes maybe? So, okay, I'll give you 6 minutes. Go. Make sure you're working together.
But it has to have 17. Oh, got it. Yeah, it's like the different side as well. I did what she did.
That was like,
Oh yeah, because you're multiplying by 2. Oh, because it's 17 side. Because it's a square in each side.
Or an expression for surface area is square.
What is 17?
No, it's 17 times 7.6 equals
Find an expression for the surface area. No. 17 times 17 times.
There it is.
guys got 3 minutes.
right.
No, because 17 divided by 6.
So that's
This is
times.
yeah. Then we have oh wait, we have
We don't have to solve it. Because it's an expression.
But that one.
No, but these are different questions.
It says what is the surface area? It says write the expression. So the other one is the answer. It says what is the surface area? This one says write the expression.
Keep that at S.
Oh, I know.
17. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 17 times 7.
Yeah.
No, you would do yeah. This is 17 times 2. That's 2. 17.
Do the second part. That's
No, because you have to times by 6.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you would do times 6. Either way is the same. Yeah, but it's
It's just faster.
okay, let's do the random question for the bottom. Oh, units squared. Don't forget units squared. But I think I'm so trying to make, I think it's nice to put the.
Writing expression for the volume. Oh, the volume 17 times 17 times 17. Oh wait, we could just put 7.
Read the question. All right, let's go over these. So, just another example of what your net looks like. Which comes now? It says draw the net and label the side lengths. So, what are the side lengths of this net gonna look like? Jack. So 17 units by 17 units. All right, explain why the area of each face of this cube is 17 square units. So why?
I think that's 17 to the second power.
Same thing. You're right.
Kind of,
So, but why? Why is it that way, Cooper?
because the formula to find the area is length times width, and your length and width is 17 times itself.
Perfect. All right. C says write an expression for the surface area in square units. All right, what does this gonna look like? The surface area. What do you think, Christian?
17 times 17, which is 189 minutes squared.
That's right, but that's the area of one square. We need the surface area. So you do 17 squared, but then what do you have to, excuse me, multiply it by? Alexa,
6.
why?
Because there's 6.
Because there are 6 faces and we're finding the surface area, not just the area of one, but the surface area of the whole thing. All right, and then the last one says write an expression for the volume in cubic units. Jeremiah, what did you come up with? For number, or letter D?
17 times 17 times 17.
Perfect. So you can do 17 times 17 times 17, or you can also write it another way. What other way can you write it? Jackson.
17. Is it 17 or is that how you say it? How do you say like a
You can say 17 cubed. You can say 17 to the third power.
Okay, power.
Power of 3. I mean, as long as you like have the right number in there, you're fine. It's a referral if you get sent out today. I'm just letting you know. So if I were you, I'd make a very wise decision and I would get up and move right now. All right, questions about this one? So it's essentially exactly the same as what we did over here. So now, keeping that in mind, let's go to this last one down here. Again, a different net. So if you did not get to this one, please go ahead, just make sure you get that net down. So this time now, what does this cube not have? It says a cube has edge length S. So what does this cube not have that's different from the last 2 cubes that we did do? Mason?
Numbers.
Doesn't have any numbers, but does it have a length and a side?
Yes. Yeah.
It does. What is our length? Huh? Right. So here's our net, and it says write an expression for each, or for the area of each face. So technically, one side is S, the other side is X. So what would that be? What would that be? Jason, what would our expression look like to find the area of that square?
Let's see. It would be S times S.
Yep.
Then,
That's it. Just S times S. What's another way that you can write S times S? Lydia. S to the second power. All right, it says write an expression for the surface area. So now the last two times we've done this, we've essentially done something, but then we've done the same thing to both of those. Rena, what do you think this is going to look like?
I think that it's going to have like each equation or like this expression is an equation technically.
Yes.
Okay. So I think it's going to be S times S and that equal.
Not equal, because S times S is what?
Surface area times surface area.
Well-
Not surface area, but surface times surface.
Yeah, so essentially it's the length and the width of this one square, right? So this one square equals S squared. How many squares do we have that make up this net?
6.
6. So then what do we need to multiply S times S?
By 6.
Yep. And if you're gonna do it this way, I would just put parentheses around that. Or you can write it how else? How else can you write this? Cooper.
S to the power of 2 times this.
So either way is perfectly fine. You have a question?
Could you go back and look at 2 for label each face with its area? Did we do that?
So we labeled each face, or so like you're talking about this.
Yes.
I'm not gonna write S squared 6 times. So not happening. All right, you have a question?
Couldn't you also do S to the second power 6?
No,
Only footprints.
only if you put parentheses. So with it being, because like up here, if we did 17 squared 6, that would make sense. So you'd have to put parentheses around here telling you to multiply that number. But no, that's a good question. All right, the last part of this lesson, it says write an expression for the volume. So be a little bit careful with this one. This one might be a little difficult. Kayla, what do you think?
S to the third power units.
Are you sure?
Cubed.
Positive. Is that easy? Why?
Because the area is just length times width times height.
The area. I thought we were
I
talking
mean,
about.
volume is length times width times height,
All right. So,
and all of those are S.
okay, so I can do it this way, or what's another way?
S times S times S.
All right. Just wrapping up our geometry for 6th grade. Like I said, on Thursday, we are starting 7th grade geometry. All right, so this is the last day of this. That's why we're taking our mid-assessment on 6th grade stuff, because obviously next week you have your benchmark, and it's gonna be covering the 6th grade geometry, not the 7th grade geometry. So I did wanna make sure that we got that fully in. Now, you are going to glue this into your notes page. I'm going to be coming around with your cool down. Why are we talking? I will pass out your cool down. When you're finished with your cool down, you're turning it in. By then, I should have the code displayed up here for you guys to start your test or your quiz. All right, there's no talking whatsoever. Are you allowed to get up and look over at the board if you need to?
Yes.
Are you allowed to? No, paper is technical.
That is illegal.
You're right. Also, are you allowed to get up and come over here and look at every single question? Because it's got some information there that you might need to use. Also, I will be coming around with some paper for you to do your work on. Do you have to show your work for every question?
Yes. Then we get, never mind, because if you do, this video requires you to.
Yeah. Alright, so at this point there is no more talking at all.
Okay.